Hi there, just wanted to share with you a little bit about our journey with autism because it is Autism Awareness Day in Autism Awareness Month and it's also Thomas's birthday, 10 years on since we got the diagnosis of autism and of course 14 years on when this little miracle came into the world with this autism along for the journey. But of course we never knew that initially. We had this wonderful little perfect baby boy who physically looked perfect and initially showed all the milestones, and we thought we were on a pretty similar journey to the little boy that we already had, his big brother. But things were going to be different, and the first indicator was a delay in speech, which we now know is one of the big indicators of autism, but there are many others as well, and so we were getting speech therapy. But then there were all those other little things as well, and flicking on and off light switches and an obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine, and you think, well, how could this mean autism? But you find yourself Googling and looking at all the signs, and you're starting to feel a bit scared about this, and then the day comes that, the teacher suggests Thomas needs to be assessed, and the assessment comes back that he lives with autism. And, you don't leave the doctor's office on this day going, yes, we got picked. We get the next Einstein. It's not like that because you don't know. You just walk out with a bit of paper, no information, and you just don't know what this means. So there's fear. And so you're devastated initially, and then all the negative stuff starts to happen, and autism got really loud very quickly in this house because we had also had my husband's stroke and fear and grief and all that sort of thing to deal with. So it got loud really quickly, and you just don't know what to do in that initial time, in those initial first years. It's overwhelming. You're trying to learn about it, you're trying to Google it, you're trying not to lose your mind, you're trying not to lose your other child, your relationship. Walls are getting smashed in, and that was our journey. Every journey is different, but windows were getting smashed. So many windows got smashed. The window guy gave us a free one for Christmas one year. He felt so sorry for us. And you're looking at other families and you're thinking, how do we get picked? This isn't what families are supposed to look like. And then, so you learn that you have to stop doing that, and you have to stop focusing on comparing, your son with anybody else, and then the academic achievement at school. And suddenly it's not about whether they get an A or a B in something. It's about whether or not they said hello to somebody. And that's a win today. And so there's wonderful gifts in learning all of this and if you allow yourself to get those gifts out of this journey, then you can, and that can roll over into the rest of your life. And so, all these negative behaviours show up, and you're trying to, got to let go of the judgments of everybody else as well, and just focus on what you can do in managing this autism, because it's not about curing them. And you're suddenly finding yourself buying all of this stuff to try and find answers, and this is why families sometimes need respite, because they just need some space to think. And when autism is loud, there's not a lot of space to do that, and you're just scrambling and you're just trying to cope and get through the days. And it's so hard in that initial time to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I hope with this I can give people some hope who are at that stage, because there are people around to give me hope. And hope gives you the courage to continue the journey and know that it's going to be okay. And so, because, looking back, you can reflect and see funny moments, and we started to allow ourselves to see the humour in some of our situations in living with this wonderful little boy called Thomas. There's a time that he was spitting all the time, and you try and eliminate these negative behaviours, believe me, and forever you're dancing on the line between what is behavioural and what is autism, and what do I need to manage and what can't he control, and which is why he has a label of autism. And so there was a time that he was spitting all the time, just spitting. And so there was a rodeo came to our local area. So it just felt like that was the only family outing that we could have, was to go to the local rodeo, because at least he might fit in a bit there with his spitting. I mean, we couldn't take him to the shops. And so you look back and you go, it just seems so crazy, but you just do what you've got to do. And then the name calling and the swearing starts, and you're like, oh my gosh, where did this come from? And I've been called some of the craziest names I can tell you. And a lot of you know about the penis story. The carpet guy comes and Thomas comes out of his room in the morning, and the carpet guy's here to measure up carpet, and he's like, oh, you're just a big penis, mum, aren't you? You're just a big penis, you big penis. And the carpet guy's looking at me like, oh, not. You're happy to know I haven't been called a big penis for quite a long time. I've been called a few other things. So you have to allow yourself to see the humour in that. You have to allow yourself to find the laughter in those moments, because this too shall pass. So, and then there's the day that I come out and Thomas is preparing his afternoon tea with a hairnet on his head because his big brother has to wear a hairnet at Domino's for food preparation. So Thomas thought, well, I better wear my hairnet. I mean, they do the cutest things like that just make your heart want to burst. And his obsession with traffic lights, and I look at traffic lights now and I watch people drive through them and never stop to actually look at them and observe them. And Thomas is, and they're missing their synchronicity and the beauty that's in traffic lights. I mean, Thomas shows me the gift and invites me to see the world in a different way. And we can allow ourselves to see that as a gift, and it is. And so that's one of the wonderful things he offers. And, progress is what you focus on, not perfection. And so suddenly it's progress that he might have kicked a hole in the wall, but he's cleaning up after himself now. That's progress. Let's celebrate that. And that's also a wonderful gift. And you learn that all the stuff we talk about, he teaches me that really is just stuff. And that's not what matters most, is our stuff. And so you're invited through his eyes and through this journey to access growth within yourself and allow yourself to see the gifts. And I guess that's what I want to do, is give people hope, to say that it does get better. And in the midst of it, you wonder how sometimes, and I hear you, but it does. And I think that there's a little story that encapsulates pretty much the whole journey of autism, because you just get taken on such an emotional roller coaster ride because you love them so much with all your heart, but sometimes you are so devastated in trying to cope with some of the negative behaviours, and you do and say things, and then which all parents do, but then you question yourself as a mother, so you get taken on such a journey. But one morning I was taking Thomas to school, and he has this verbal diarrhea thing. He just doesn't stop talking. And I'm really grateful he talks. You've got to be grateful he talks. So I am grateful he talks. But he just doesn't stop talking sometimes. And he's just talking about stuff like the same old thing over and over again about the traffic lights and about what colour the traffic lights are and whether the red light should turn. And the red arrow went down, didn't it, Mum? Ha. And the red light's broken, and then the green light's broken. And then when the green light goes down, and then the nurse needs to come and fix it. And he just says it over and over again. And you're trying to stay focused on the conversation. You're trying to be grateful that he's talking. And then you're trying to make sure you answer in all the right spots. And then you're trying to concentrate on driving. And so you start to get a little bit frustrated. So there's the emotional frustration happening, and you try not to be short. And then we get to school, and he's opening the door, and he's still talking about the traffic lights and how the traffic lights, and I'm still trying to listen. And then he just stops and looks at me and says, "Mum, don't die today, will you? Because I need you to look after me." And then your heart just goes, oh my gosh. This poor baby, the empathy and the love that you feel. And so I'm sitting with that for a moment. And as he walks away from me, I'm looking at him, feeling this amazing love and feeling so emotional. And then he turns around as he's walking away and gives me the finger. And I'm like, that is our life, just like that, all in a few minutes. That's the roller coaster ride of emotions you go on. But I just want to say to you that that 10 years on since the diagnosis, 14 years old, and I can squint and I can see such hope in the future. I can say, we got taken on the journey of autism. We've learnt so much about ourselves as a family. Thomas has accessed places in me that I sometimes didn't want to go, but I see that I have grown so much emotionally, and I've gotten strong and resilient, but I've allowed myself to also relax into our journey and see the gifts in it and celebrate those gifts. And it's an amazing journey like no other, but there is hope, and I can see him living independently, and he brings meals home from home ec now, and he works part-time in the home ec at school, and he gets a train to go to the movies. And so there is hope. It's a journey like no other. To all of you families who are on this journey with me, I applaud you. Take a bow. You are amazing, and allow yourself to reflect and know that for sure. And congratulations on the amazing young people that you're bringing up to walk through the world. Thank you.